Then let's get going. We'll call us to order at 6:35. Um, so I guess we do public comment. Is there any input that has come in?
No.
Okay, so that's that. Um, the next thing is the alternative revenue streams, which I see is slotted down for 35 minutes.
Okay. So, I met again with Teresa and Stacy and gave them the feedback about what you all decided. I think there were some questions about, and I did look at some other community media centers to see what they were doing in terms of, logos at the bottom and whether we can do, sorry, let me just switch glasses. Whether we can do it for how we can do it in terms of if there's any rules around it. So I think, and then I gave them, so they're going back to their slide deck and looking and also doing research about what might be better. So I think I talked to Brattleboro and how they were doing it. And so what I've been doing is looking at different underwriting packages that the different community media centers are doing, but I can't remember if we looked at this last time, if I showed you what Brattleboro was doing for their underwriting logos. So let's see if I can share it.
So when you say there's an underwriter there, it looks nice. Where is their sponsorship or their underwriter? Oh, I see.
So they do it in the beginning.
Mhm.
So I didn't share sound, sorry, but it's primarily
Yeah, that's okay.
to see.
Hmm.
Nice.
And then it goes away and it's just their lower third. And then they show it at the end as well,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
That was a long meeting.
Sorry.
It's over 3 hours.
So it comes in at the end again.
The select board's earning their pay, right?
So I think, and how they were offering their packages for, it goes on all of their municipals. So they don't actually break it out to like if the underwriters only want Bethel or like one of their towns. So it goes across the school board and like, so all their government and education meetings. So I don't know if we want it to be such a umbrella group, just because I feel like some of our, like who we might get, like Montpelier people may not be so interested in like the Bethel meetings or having, so in terms of whether it makes sense to do regions or at least break it out like the Rochester Bethel group and then the Central Vermont group. But I think that in terms of how we were looking at where those logos go, I feel like the Brattleboro maybe is a little bit closer to what everyone was saying last time about how they wanted, like it wasn't super in your face and always there. So, and I think I think Michael had a question also last time, and I was trying to remember what it was that he had concerns about. So I was hoping maybe Michael might be able to reiterate the question or concern he had when we were looking at the last slide deck.
I think I had a few concerns. One that's coming to mind is just like, so like Du Bois and King is a big outfit in Randolph, and like I think the single sponsor, to a specific select board was a concern. But as you see from Brattleboro, the multiples early and late, that doesn't rise to my concern level.
Mhm.
But I just would hate to see, a certain select board be captive of one, but I'm also curious, did you get pricing from Brattleboro, what they charge on their packages, and what's the count on that number of select boards and number of school board meetings? So you're paying how much to get your name, the beginning and end of, 6 things a month, 10 things a month? I don't know if you've looked at the math there.
So how they did it was, let me see if I can pull up their underwriting page.
I would say that I think that Michael's concern speaks to maybe a case for not dividing things up by region. That way you do put in a little bit of a buffer protection against, like, say, if I was a Montpelier, I may be more interested in the Montpelier events, like the school board or something like that, but just, I think that, no, you couldn't just sponsor just the school board. If you're like a school lobbying agency group, you would need it. It's like, okay, you can sponsor, but you got to sponsor everything.
Right.
So,
And I don't think, Sarducci's would be upset if they were also getting a Bethel event. I mean, that a place like that pulls for miles around. People go there for, birthdays and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, and it would also put the smaller regions at a competitive disadvantage for sponsorship because
Mhm.
there's going to be pulling from a smaller number of businesses.
Mhm.
Question though, is it technically not difficult to offer the choice to the advertiser of either regional or our entire region? And the reason I'm asking is if it's technically easy, then a very small business with a very small advertising budget that's quite local we may be able to offer a more level playing field of a very small business with a very small budget that wants to do something like this and show they're community minded and get the word out, can have a low cost to get a local advertisement, whereas a slightly larger business with possibly a broader base could pay a little bit more and reach everybody, all of our many towns. So if it's technologically not difficult, I think there's a real advantage to the community and to ORCA to offer both.
My guess would be that it would be technologically very difficult to have different chyrons for every different community.
well,
Every town.
I think
Yeah.
we could do it, I think we could do it per town, per region, and we can kind of do the workflow, because I mean, we do like the Bethel Select Board or the Rochester, like in that area, we could, and I'm thinking if we did it not for a particular town select board, but maybe a little bit broader in region, that maybe we can avoid having it seem like that company is trying to buy that or is buying that select board. So and it could be like, we could come up with, I think, marking it on our workflow that this gets whatever logos. If it's, like the 3, and just like you have like the different logo folder for
Mm.
the,
Yeah.
the,
It's going to be
um,
easier to come out of the gate with the full suite for bookkeeping and for workflow, as you point out, Jim. If we're able to do everything, if we come out like that, so I'm excited to hear you can do both right out the gate. I would be in favor of letting our market decide, but mainly just trying to say for people trying to be very local, that we give them a local or small business price.
so I think in terms of, Michael, your question, so this is what Brattleboro does for the municipal sponsor, and that's what we were just watching, was it on all the municipals. Johnny, who's the executive director there, he did also say like having specific events. So I think they have like, the Wyndham's Got Talent, so they get sponsors for a particular event that's happening. That he said they were pretty successful in doing something like that rather than necessarily doing like the municipal ones. So we could, graduation is coming up. I was gonna talk to Teresa and Stacy about if we want to try to get some sponsors for the graduations that are coming up to kind of offset at least some of the production costs. So I don't know if we want to do that or try to focus on if we're doing a single event type sponsorship. The graduations would be the thing to try out. I am meeting with them at the end of the week to go through and see if they have some updates on their slide deck, as well as with when we were talking about, we didn't want to have it just per select board, but maybe a little bit wider and maybe not as in the face. And so there was also, I think we were also looking at the website and having, I think, I don't know if Brattleboro has it, but a lot of the website had like the sponsors at the bottom, like, these are, and so it wouldn't be, and it could rotate through, so it wouldn't be as prominent on top or anything like that. And I think a lot of, when I was cruising through all the different websites, they pretty much did it at the bottom. The other, so that's the underwriting and having the logo on the video. Media Factory, and I think Jam also, they do underwriting a little bit different. They have more of like, they create a 30-second spot for whoever is interested and it plays a certain number of time like that. It's not a commercial, but that PSA or promo plays on their channel for a certain number of time through the year or however set. So it's not that it's a logo on the videos, it's they purchase videos that are created by the staff. So that would be, I think, it might be a little bit harder, like the digital storytelling, doing the PSAs, and unless we come up with like how much creative work is going to go into creating that PSA. If we can come up with a template of like, we go there, we do a quick video and like they do a little ramble and that's it, then we probably could. But if they, so we'd have to kind of be a little bit more mindful of staff time and how much it would take to kind of do something like that.
The fact that we are finally going to go out and start helping our small businesses create promotional videos. Randolph has been like a slaughterhouse with business after business going belly up. And I think this is going to be good for everybody.
Hey, Jen. Yikes. I'm going to keep quiet.
No, Pat, what it is you've joined from two different devices.
Am I?
Yep, you're in from two different devices. So you can either put them far apart and turn off the volume to one, or the meeting head can kick you out on one of them.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Because my God.
Those coming from it's normal. So with the meeting, with the Zoom host, Pat, talk again so they can see which of your connections is the one you're making.
Better. Thank you. I think. What I was going to ask Jen is that I see us having sponsors, but I'm really flabbergasted that a select board can have sponsors because all I see in front of me is a big word called conflict of interest. And I mean, good Lord, I'm surprised nobody's pitched a fit.
But the select board meeting isn't being sponsored. We just have people sponsoring. That's
just the town? Because I thought the select board, these were the select board sponsors.
No, they're just sponsoring, helping to sponsor, making the select board meeting be brought to the public. So it's showing that they're community minded.
Yeah. Wait till they get into a contract dispute.
We
Sorry.
could make a policy that it says is if we're covering state house or select board meetings,
Yeah.
then, you
Well, I
know, then,
just, I mean, like you
so,
just mentioned a contractor, a paving contractor like Pike, they couldn't do that because the select board could vote on a paving contract. But anyway, I think we can do it without any conflicts, but I'm just
exactly.
surprised that a select board can.
Jen, is there any implication that these people are sponsoring their select board meetings? I don't think so.
No, I think we
Um,
would just be like the meetings that are being held, if we did like a regional approach, it'd be like they could
Right.
underwrite the meetings that are being held in their, like, that region, we'll call it, or is the Central Vermont region. So if it would be like the sponsor logo would show up for like the Berlin meetings, the Middlesex meetings, the Montpelier meetings, so we could determine the towns that I feel like it could be broken up into two different, just because we have the Bethel Rochester area and the Central Vermont area that seem a little bit further apart, but
Would Randolph fit in central Vermont?
because we have that.
I know, it seems-
So, but in terms of, I think so I've been looking, and when I talked to Johnny over at Brattleboro, I asked if they had any policies regarding like who could be an underwriter or not, and they didn't have any. So I have been actually like looking through to see if there's any policies around who can be an underwriter, or if there's any conflict of interest, I guess, around that. So I haven't found anything, but that was one of the things that I think also came up, was if there's any rules around, or if we want to have any policies about who can be an underwriter. I don't know that.
Well, Jen, you mentioned, I think it was Jem and Van both having their sort of sponsor highlights detach from municipal meetings and have them just be little standalone. Is that correct?
Media Factory and I think Jam do like 30-second promos for their underwriters, and that's how they do it. So it's not attached to.
They're not attached to municipal meetings, because what Pat was
That's
saying,
good.
just very reminding that it gets to, our core mission is delivering those goods to the public. In terms of the Comcast money.
But well,
So-
it's also.
I could finish my thought though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I think asking Jem and the Media Factory if there were, you know, kind of legally clean reasons why they did not choose to have their underwriting so directly attached to municipal meetings might be worth pursuing.
Yeah, I would do that.
Do we know if there's like a price difference?
For Media Factory?
Like to do a video spot versus just underwriting on the bot on a Chiron?
For us, it, like, when you say difference, is it like how much we're charged, like we would charge the people, or?
Yeah, like if I was underwriting the municipals for 1,500 a year, that would be on the Chiron, and if I wanted to get like a 30-second spot, also would it be more than that?
So this is Media Factory's underwriting packages.
crap.
Sorry. And then I think the 6 months.
What do they use for their sales pitch, since you can't tell people how many people are watching? Just how many stations, right? I mean, what's the sell for somebody to spend $5,000 to promote to who? Hello?
So I was, in terms of how they like their sponsorship manager, whoever sells it. I don't know how, but this is their sponsorship package.
Mhm.
And so they
Right.
talk about, I mean, we could
Mm.
go. Which these are the data bits, like we couldn't say, we could just do the online subscribers and then the areas that we cover. And then we don't have a radio, but we could do like the online.
Like, yeah, follow subscribers or views or
Mhm.
something.
And then they go back to the package. So the data bits that they're kind of using to reach out to the sponsor, like those are, Teresa knows about those as well.
Mhm.
Like, so they're data bits that we collect and we can use as well. So
So where are we, what do we need to decide now to get to like a decision point here? Or is it, how far are we away from seeing like, a package to approve to approach people and or do we have other concerns before we can
I guess
get to that?
that's the bit, like, I think we just started talking with Teresa about, so I relayed her the feedback, and I just wanted to make sure that I'd gotten all the bits, because I remembered that Michael had the concerns, and I did let them know, and I just couldn't remember what they were
Mhm.
so far.
Carlos and Pat did as well.
About, yeah,
It was
so
it was a good discussion. I don't think it was just me.
no, it wasn't. I just wanted to make sure that I had answered those to you here. And then, so they're working on another slide deck that broke it out a little bit wider. And I think hopefully they will, I know that Teresa's starting to talk with the bridge in terms of just like sharing content. And I guess my question would be, do we want to try to get some sponsors for the graduations that are happening? In
I mean, that seems really safe and
Yep.
non-political.
Exactly.
And I'm wondering, could Teresa visit the next board meeting?
Sure.
I
So
don't know. I'm just trying to think next steps and how to get all sort of the heads in the room at the same time.
We'd have to
Because it
move
sounds like you're
fast on
doing a
this,
lot of
right?
relaying and maybe she could just show up.
So in
Just a
terms, yes, I was gonna say, I think because this is the second round, like, to see, I would imagine the next board meeting would be like, we could look at the slide deck that's gonna be going out and whether, piece makes sense and,
Is Cricket joining?
you know, I was like, I was just trying to make sure it wasn't cricket.
Pat, did Pat have something? Were you trying to say something before Pat?
Well, I was just saying, we have to do this quicker because graduations come up pretty quickly, and in order to reach out to people and then get everything printed and ready to go, we're going to have to. I don't think if the next meeting is too far away, I'd be
So
glad to help. Is Cricket there?
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out.
Ah,
I don't know.
So
I'm going to come.
So in terms of, like, so there was the underwriter and the municipal programming sponsor versus like he was saying, like getting sponsors for like a local of one-time event that we might just come up with a cost where it's like $250 to be a sponsor. And it wouldn't be as big of a conversation as the underwriting package for the municipal meetings that we were talking about with the logo. So
it could
I
be
was,
quick and kind of a proof of concept and test the market.
yeah,
Makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
I think
okay.
it's very good to do a graduation because, as Chad said, it's not political; it's your kids, so you can't find any fault in people wanting to sponsor that and get that information out to folks.
Okay.
We do see on their page, you can see the $75 for the talent show thing. It is an interesting option that or to be able to present underwriting abilities at a lower price point for hyper local events, it could be an entry point as opposed to having to break out too many different regions. Just thinking about what is a simpler sort of rollout when we might ultimately launch it.
And I think we could break out like maybe the municipals and the school board because they're government like different, whereas like I think we do summer concerts a lot of times. So maybe we do that hyper local fits into like the arts and community events rather than the government and education. So we could kind of have it broken out that way. That might be a little bit cleaner as well. So
They have their municipals there for 1,500 a year. Yeah.
so
Well, the graduation seems like what do we need to, is this something we need to vote on? Is it something that we can proof of concept on the graduation?
I'm okay just letting Teresa know, saying, and I guess the rate, do we want to just maybe go with what they did as well, 250 for the sponsor package that,
See if we get
Would we
any-
cap the number? Is there like a number cap or just I mean, if we get
Yeah. I think if we get it.
tempted to just say whoever,
however much they want
Yeah.
to put in toward it?
No, you have to have a plan. Tell them which level. I mean, you see that at all the conferences and stuff, gold levels, silver letters, blah, blah. I think you have to have a specific amount of money, but not as much as we just saw there, $5,000. Good Lord.
Okay,
I don't think we get anybody from this area for that money.
Jen,
So-
what's our count on graduations? It's Montpelier, U32, Randolph. Do we do any middle schools? Like how many?
Yeah.
so we do some middle schools and some elementary schools in Waldorf or Orchard Valley, I guess.
Like a seven or eight count?
Yeah, and we have also CCV we do as well. So I think this year we have just started to get requests to do the elementary schools. So we're not quite sure how many elementary schools are going to ask us to do their little step up.
Mhm.
So, but I think that 7-8 count sounds pretty close.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So unless, I guess, I was just gonna let Teresa run with the different levels for the sponsor, like if we're aiming around the 250, but if they wanted to do a higher, like the gold sponsor or however, but I was gonna just leave it to Teresa to kind of gauge in terms of pricing unless there's some strong feelings around.
I mean, she's a professional. She raises money in this community all the time, so it does make sense.
Okay,
She's gonna have a better sense of what people are going to be able and willing to pay.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a decent number of events, 7 or 8 minimum. And of their package, I see you sponsor all the graduations, so it would be you get a package deal for a bunch of different events. And so going to be a lot of grandparents zooming in to watch.
Mhm.
Okay.
And honestly, especially with fuel prices as high as they seem to be wanting to sit, it may be a blessing.
So, I think I have as my list back. I just want to make sure I have. So I will reach out to Media Factory and GM to see if they chose to do their underwriting package as a spot, the 30-second clips, rather than logos during the meetings, if there was any legal or regulatory reason why, or I guess just a general why they chose to do that.
My guess is that it's just, you can charge more for it, and
Mhm.
that it's a greater, appeal to sponsors, that they say, hey, you get a commercial out of it too. It's gonna both be on YouTube and they could then share it.
Mhm.
That would be my guess. I mean, seeing especially their $5,000 price point, it's like, okay, yeah, I can see why you could get a 30-second spot with a $5,000 sponsorship.
Okay. And I'll get back.
That's why, I mean, I was wondering at like 1,500, that's gonna be a little bit more. It's like that staff time.
Mhm.
You may not make enough to where it's gonna, ultimately be worth it.
Mhm.
Or especially like 250.
Mhm. Okay. And then I will ask Teresa to come to our next board meeting to present. Or to discuss, or,
I would love for it to be at a point when we are able to have last concerns and sign off. I think
Okay.
that looking at our budget and the sort of rising water levels, we need to,
It's a good analogy.
yeah.
okay. Right.
So is there anything else on that? Anyone, have anything else before we jump to the next spot?
Good to go.
All right, then strategic planning updates.
Okay. So for outreach, I have been looking at the underwriting policies that other AMOs are doing, reaching out to see if, not just the package, but if there were any policies associated with that. And I did detour off, to do that. And then as part of the back burner is looking at revising the employee handbooks. I've been also asking about if they had some employee handbooks that we could look at to see if there were any other policies that other MOs were doing, as well as, so I don't have anything to present to be reviewed. I've just been doing research and gathering the different policies that other groups are doing. And so that's that's policy and kind of outreach, because it's all part of the alternate revenue. Okay.
Yeah, I will, admit that I have for handbooks have been leaning on AI. I will confess, I have piled use these as a model to create me a first draft of a handbook.
Oh, okay.
It's actually very helpful for first drafting things like that
Mhm.
that I am a notorious procrastinator of. I don't know if we also, I don't know if it's an update for our facility circle, the thing that we did with the hub, or if that is a different sort of.
No, I think that's sort of a different.
Okay.
I think sort of,
They get to use some of our new equipment.
right,
Yeah.
Did they use some of our new?
They used our podcasty mics.
Okay, because yeah, I think that was part of the facilities conversation, had been like doing a podcast studio type area. And so I
Yeah,
know that Kevin Ellis was
Mhm.
also thinking of doing a different podcast here. Is that also,
yeah, that's still in the works.
okay?
So
Did the mics look nice and
I thought they, yeah,
had?
Yeah, it was
podcasting?
good. They thought they liked it. Yeah, everyone there seemed to have a good reaction to it. And the Film in Vermont podcast is talking about maybe wanting to do a podcast record here
Okay.
also, which we could record and put on. He wants to interview me for that. So it'll be a nice excuse to test out some like a setup in here.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's good. All right,
Okay, so now we can get to the fun part, the financial reports. I've got like such a glare, right? I picked the worst seat to be able to see people's
Oh, yeah.
expressions. Light right on vision.
Yeah.
Here she is.
Jen, you first or me first?
You can go first.
Oh, thanks. Okay. So, and big picture is we have not moved any funds over from the low interest um, local savings account at this time. So this report, and I'm just going to take a quick shot of January, February, and then to date. The big picture is that we came into the year looking quite good with an increase of about, and again, these are pretty volatile, but our current investment situation, which is designed to try to give us a cushion should our major income streams go away or give us a basis on which we can borrow to invest in things that we think will benefit our mission, is in good shape overall. The war in Iran and the general concerns about rising interest rates and the fact that it looks like the Fed is not, which the market thought it would, is not likely to cut interest rates at all this year, has done a really interesting double whammy in that stocks and bonds are all falling. So if I were talking to you about, in the middle of February before we did the Iran thing, I would be like, hey, things are really good. As it is, we have seen a decrease in the value of our portfolio of about 7,000. And forgive me, I just had it open a moment ago. Just in the last month, and the main issue is just that the value of the corporate bonds, which looked pretty good, we did some long-term positions in bonds that range from about just under 7% down to 4.5%. Because AI companies are coming out with huge offerings at pretty high interest rates, that tends to cause the underlying value of the bonds to go down, which, although it's considered an unrealized gain or loss because we haven't sold anything, if we were to sell, the value of those bonds themselves, what we paid for them, is less. So there are some, given our really conservative position, I need to talk to EJ, but my inclination might be to see whether it makes sense to move some of us into gold and to shift our investment basis somewhat to some very large companies. So at the moment, we are still in a very healthy position. Our loss is more like a 2%, and we're currently sitting at about $530,000 of portfolio value, up from about 330,000 a couple of years ago. Any questions so far?
Doesn't look like anyone has anything.
Nope.
Yeah, that's
Yep. And there was
anyone's
some
guess.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's sort of anyone's guess which direction it's gonna go. A lot of this stuff, I think.
It's a hard one because the president is by far the most volatile. Like, just you never know what's going to come out of the executive office next. You never know. There's just this huge lack of stability in the American government. I mean, they just fired the entire 24-member, National Science Foundation panel that's been in place since Congress created it right after World War II to help guide, the $9 billion science investment portfolio. So that just came out of the blue. They all got an email. Thank you for service. Goodbye. So things like that make it difficult to predict. The only thing that I think we can probably fairly predict is that defense and artificial intelligence will be pretty healthy areas. But I think jumping on that bandwagon is not, I guess what I Is any feedback from the board? Do you want me to just go for where I think we're going to get the best return on investment, or do you want me to exercise a little bit of a um, um, restraint?
I think I agree with CJ. You don't really know what's going on from day to day. And maybe just a little more pulling back a little bit over the next couple of weeks, see where we're going. Maybe by the next meeting, we'll have a better idea.
Mhm.
But the stock market didn't seem to be watching that every day. That's kind of interesting.
Yep. Yeah, we're heavily, we do have stuff in our stock portfolio that's balancing out some of the strangeness in the bonds, and
Yep.
on the whole, that's doing okay. But the big risk, but I think this is a risk for America, is that the really frightening thing is that currently it looks like we are entering a neighborhood where the American debt is literally about to reach, the government debt is literally about to reach $40 trillion a year, or about 30% of our GDP. If you add in corporate debt and then you add in personal debt, we're looking at over $100 trillion in monies owed. And,
Right.
you know, I'm not enough of an economist to understand how you get out of something like that without devaluing the currency.
But so without getting too far off, you do, or you foresee reaching out to, it's not our now mayor who's overseeing our Edward Jones any longer, right? It's someone else. But I would be curious to hear what they would recommend. It definitely seems like caution is the and safety is the course, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a pretty neutral situation. With the board's concurrence, I have really followed the strategy of my predecessor, who did a really good job of setting all this up. We did move a lot of our cash into much higher yielding investments, so we are seeing, instead of having a relatively flat or slightly up portfolio, we are up. Even with the losses over the last 2 months, we're up $37,000 from last year. So it's not a terrible rate of return, but we're just in an extremely peculiar period where, and we're not trying to exploit opportunities. So I think that staying conservative, staying, distributed is a good idea. The only changes that I might make for us is to see what the cost to us would be to try to adjust us some more into sort of traditional hedges, like, metals that are industrial metals, or metals that are traditional reserves like gold, to cushion a little bit of our question mark um, about the value of the dollar. But honestly, given that we're doing this for ORCA, if our communities are going downhill, it almost doesn't matter whether we exist or not. And that's why I'm so excited to see that the sponsorships is not just an opportunity for ORCA, it's an opportunity for us to bring our expertise and capabilities to help small business in our communities, give them some more stability and some more capabilities. And it's not their core competency to make promotional videos, it's ours. So to bring our capabilities to them, let them pay us a little bit for it, that helps keep ORCA afloat, and then sort of spreads our financial interest, our financial support base, while helping them to reach their communities better. It's just, to me, a win-win. So my recommendation is that the treasurer is to, if it was for an individual, I might think something different, but as our treasurer, it is to think what is the best for our Vermont communities, economic health and communications health, and then from there you just spread out to our whole country, right? We're part of a whole community that the government created and funded for public access television, and that's our mission, and that's the mission of all public access television groups. So I'm inclined to keep that in mind as I do our investment strategies. So I'm not likely to jump us onto what I see of as possible market opportunities. I'm more inclined to keep in mind what are we here for, and what is best for our country and our community.
Mhm. And our reserve funds.
Yeah, yeah.
We
If we
keep
sit
them
tight
safe.
on our funds, we are probably going to continue to be okay. But the big question is, what changes can I make that are still conservative, that are going to leave us more okay than otherwise?
Yeah.
And we probably should go ahead and consummate bringing over some of the local funds, because we still have better yields accessible to us in Edward Jones that Jen will be able to just reach out and get that money without, involving me for anything but very, very large transfers. And Edward Jones had agreed to do that. So at some point, Jen, if there's, depending on where you all ended up, we should probably do that, just because it'll probably free up about an extra $2,000 a year, even at extremely conservative rates, over what you're getting in the local bank, that you can use for funding anything from extra crew to lights for the studio.
So maybe
Yeah.
tomorrow.
That works.
Cool. Good job.
Thanks, everybody. Any questions, comments, or suggestions? I'm open to any of those.
What does Jones need from us to do anything, or are they just going to go ahead and do it? Because we've already talked about it.
On
What do
this, new discussion, and then they'll execute our request.
Okay, good.
Or my request, actually, is.
Yeah,
is
right. Thanks.
Okay. So for our financials, I think just to note, at the last meeting, we talked about moving some of the money that we had budgeted in compensation over into consultants, and so I had updated the line. So the consultant line will be for Teresa and Stacy's work, that for community engagement. And I think the business insurance is a little bit higher, just because we just renewed and we pay up front.
Mhm.
So rather than it getting split across the months, the bulk of it gets paid when we renew, and then there's a little bit that gets paid every month. So that's why there's such a big one in business insurance. I think the other bit, it hasn't happened. I know that Van's talking about it, but our dues and subscriptions, they are expected to increase. I'm not sure when it'll hit, but they're having their annual meeting, and then they'll have everyone vote on the new budget. But because they're looking to bring in I think she's a lawyer, to help with drafting a bill for long-term funding. So, and to help do some research about long-term funding options, there is an additional increase. So our dues are expected, based on what they presented, that hasn't got voted on. It's gonna be, I think, we budgeted 1.16, but they're looking at a 2% against our revenue and amount. So it's about 2,700, almost 2,800 more than what we budgeted. So it hasn't hit it, but it's gonna be something that it's gonna probably hit later on. But just to kind of put it out there, that our dues and subscriptions are expected to be over. And I think outside of that, we are under on compensation. We're a little bit, I feel like, short-staffed on camera operators, and Annika is only working 25 hours against the full-time that we had when Sean was there. So we're a little bit under on the community outreach piece. So I think Zach and I have been kind of kicking in and filling in the gap on that end. And then I think summer, we're starting to look at the summer program, and I think we may need to think about, like, do we want to hire someone to help out, or that, because we generally have always hired camera operators and not editors or
Mhm.
anything else. And so with Annika, I think in the fall, she's planning on doing field hockey, so we'll be down even more.
Mhm.
And so whether we want to, we've always kind of looked internally because we always have camera operators who want more hours and more responsibilities. And this time we happen to be pretty sparse on our camera operators who are interested in doing more. So it may be that we might need to put an ad out there for someone who can do camera operator and more operational support. So that's something that I think we're kind of thinking about right now. We have Annika here, and we've been kind of moving through and seeing if some of the newer camera operators might be interested in it, but it's a little bit, we're under budget in terms of the financial, but we're over definitely on terms of capacity on our end, we're pretty tight. But outside of that, I think there isn't anything. It's been a pretty quiet month in terms of the finances, unless anyone has questions about the finances. Oh, I think I haven't put it into the report, but the Green Mountain Film Festival said they could kick over 1,700 from their finances that they like, it wasn't a percentage. They couldn't do the percentage that the MOU originally said, but they said we can give you $1,700 toward our fiscal sponsorship work. So I think I can move that over.
Jen, they sent you a financial report, and what is the oversight on their financials?
On the Green Mountain Film Festival's financials?
Yeah, I'm suspecting anything, just doing good, good hygiene.
I think on our end, we don't, as long as they generally, because they don't have access to our QuickBooks, they give me like receipts and expenses and what they should be coded to. And I think for the Green Mountain Film Festival, it was also, I helped pay for some of the film fees. So I did the online payments and put through those bill pays. But outside of that, as long as they're not negative, I think all I've been kind of keeping an eye out on terms of if they're making payments and that if it looks like they're trying to make a payment that they don't have enough money to cover, like that's where I would maybe step in and say, hey, but they do have access to the bank account, so they should their bank account part. They should be kind of looking over it. But my understanding is that we don't oversee anything in terms of if they're making payments that we don't know why, or like if the director gave me like this is for rentals, I code it as such and just make sure that it's coded to what they want it. I don't know if it's different, like for the fiscal sponsorship, if there's supposed to be more, I don't know.
It's the sort of thing that should probably be in a policy, and they should be presenting us with their
Budget.
yeah, in the end of year like actuals, but it is our responsibility as a fiscal sponsor to ensure that they're spending the money as they say they are, and that it aligns with our mission.
So I guess that's where it's like, in terms of when they're giving me the receipts and stuff and what it's supposed to be for, it did like, it isn't anything like, so in that sense, when I'm coding it, I'm like, okay, that's part of, because it goes to whatever account code that they had in their original budget. Whether there's agreements of how much it should be or anything like that, I wouldn't know. I just know that it's for stuff that they had in their budget and how they did it. I think generally I was gonna also see if maybe we want them to come in to present of how that last year went. I think historically we've had them after their festival, like probably in the summers. So to come in to present of how the Green Mountain Film Festival went and all that. So I didn't know if you wanted us to maybe invite them again.
I think we got a thumbs up from CJ.
Okay.
On having them visit. And Pat, were you about to say something?
I'm good. Yeah, no, works for me.
Yeah. Chad, do you have is there sort of a standard policy
It
that,
depends. It depends on the type of fiscal sponsorship. There are different types. And so it would depend on which type this is. But and how exactly the oversight happens. Well, we have for another nonprofit, we have just rolled out a fiscal sponsorship policy. And part of that is mandatory to submit a end of project yearly budget versus actuals report. It does seem like it would make sense that we have something like that, just as, and I don't think that they're out there paying for motorcycles or anything. I know they're spending it on movies, but like it makes sense for us to have something like that. Though it does sound like you're pretty close to it, so it's not like we're going to see any surprises, but probably something official.
So I was gonna say, I do, we do have the P&L for the Green Mountain Film Festival as one of the financial reports. So I did add and bringing it up from August. I think I did it. So it does, I don't have necessarily the budget that they were expecting, but we do have, the profit and loss report for theirs. So if you wanted to take a look and see,
Yeah,
is that
this is pretty close. I think this is pretty close to getting you there. I mean, if all of the funds come from our what is the word I'm looking for? The restricted account for the sponsorship. So it's all coming from the same place. So it's not like you don't see the things that are going in and out.
I think the idea of having a not onerous, but defined, as you said, Chad, like something like your agreement. Do you guys want to run it by the GMF people? And if they don't think it's onerous, we could come back and adopt something next meeting?
Yeah, I mean, for theirs, it's a little bit more contained than the things that we're sponsoring. It's where we're sending money to filmmakers and they're like out doing things. And so I'm needing to get back receipts and all of that. So I mean, I think that this wasn't a problem in the audit, so it might be that it's okay, but it is the sort of thing that like it is one of those loopholes and where we don't have clearly defined policy on. And I know that their MOU is a little bit sort of like, how did they come to the decision of this $1,700? Like, that's my only like, they just chose a number or like.
I think, yeah, so that's where it was they thought that they had enough in the, like, because if you look through here, like the P&L shows a negative amount, but it doesn't take in that they had a little bit left over from the previous year. So I think it is like they were budgeting and based on how everything shuffled out, they were like, we have a little bit extra that we could say we can move toward giving to ORCA and still have a little bit for the next startup.
Because their agreement in the MOU was a percentage off of ticket sales, is that right?
It was, I think it was also sponsorship. So, I can't remember offhand what it was. Yeah, so it wasn't just ticket sales. I think it was also anything but grants. Everything but grants, but I can't remember if there was something else that wasn't in there.
And what is the time term on that MOU?
I think we renew it every year. So it was like, we don't change any of the terms. We say, okay, well, I think every year we sat and said, is there anything that needs to be adjusted? And I think, so I don't know that it has like a real, like set terms, like a lease kind of term,
Mhm.
but it is, if we wanted, like the original one did say after like 2 years,
Right.
you know, then it would kick in. So whether we want to add in a certain amount again, or if they need to continue to just, I don't know what their plan is in terms of like the growth, so that are they, when they do their budget, are they budgeting in, like ORCA gets a certain amount and we're gonna try to like get that, I guess fundraise for that kind of, or make sure it's included.
Mhm.
So,
So would be good questions for when they visit,
mhm.
and to see about the subsequent MOUs. I mean, a more standard policy would be like a 5% off of any funds that are donated into that account, because we are, I mean, you spent a substantial amount of time, it sounds like, doing admin for,
Well, it gets chunky,
Sending
like,
payments
you
and
know,
stuff.
all year long, probably not so much, but then like when that happens, it's a little bit heavier in terms of like, you know, there's more things to do. It's still not a ton amount of time, so, but it is, you know, it's just like reconfiguring the day for me to be like, oh yeah, don't forget to do this. And it's definitely a little bit more busy work, but it is for just a set period of time, like really ramping up to the festival happening.
Right.
So.
Wonderful. I don't care.
Do we have any other discussion points or questions regarding the treasurer's report and the finances?
Just real quick, Jen, you mentioned Van and the predicted increase in membership dues. Is that a decision going to be made? I think they have a spring annual meeting. I'm wondering if that's scheduled. Are we invited? Where is it? When is it?
It is, I think, scheduled, and it's May 1st, it's actually Fridays. I'm sorry, I didn't relay, I've, the invite to all. It's in Manchester,
No,
Richmond, sorry, Richmond.
Are we represented in any fashion? Do you plan on going?
We were not, I was gonna see about the recording, because I believe they're having make sure that they have a recording, but we were not gonna be able to attend this year. I think, I was hoping to maybe I think they're offering it, the business meeting part in Zoom, via Zoom, but I think they did present the budget and why they're asking for the increase at an advocacy meeting earlier. So in terms of that piece, I think it's just really the group's gonna vote on whether to accept the budget that would have that increase.
And do you understand the nature of that lawyer's role? It sounds they're gonna hire a part-timer or
So I think that it's a contract that they're having with Nancy Warner, and it's looking at different options. I mean, it's been a while since they did the study back when I think when they started talking about the streaming tax and the pole attachment tax or fee. So it'd be looking, I think, because I think there's been more states that do the streaming, and they've also been talking about how, like, whether to bring in like the streaming boxes and get that as recoded as cable, or like, and so I think Comcast has like the Zumo box, and whether those could get like bundled in as part of the franchise fee, or if it's something different. So I think she's going to be there, like a consultant, to help with all the different options and see where, you know, is it like redefining things? Is it like, you know, what other states are doing, what's been successful? So I think that they're utilizing her to help get all the things if we want to start writing a bill, is the plan.
What is Nancy Warner's, forgive me, but this, as you know, has been an item that ever since I joined the ORCA board, that I felt was very important. And an early ORCA board member, John and I both served on the board of one of the other entities very interested in pole attachments and streaming taxes. What? So she'll be an advocate and a lobbyist for Van, is that correct?
No, so I think what it is that she will do the research and provide recommendations for us so that when we pull together and get ready to write a bill or get sponsor, or, you know, to do that piece, she will have done the research or given us, these are like, this is what you should aim for, what have you. So it's not necessarily, I don't believe a lobbyist, because she's not going to give us a strategy. That's what Action Circles would still, we're still going to be using them. And that I can't remember if the contract with Action Circles increased or not for this budget as well, but it's primarily that she's going to come with recommendations for up to us. Does that make sense?
It may. Is it possible to obtain the background and the contract and the request for that? I did a bunch of work at the State House with somebody, mostly as the person doing business case analysis, et cetera, and technical analysis, working with one of UC Fiber's founders, their then vice chair, passing legislation in the State House. And this is an area that's got public policy and technology implications and a lot of, you know, as I've said for a long time, and a lot of political and, you know, corporate attention to it. So I think it's a really important area for our future and for all public access television's future. If there's anything you could send me, I'd be happy to look it over and get back with you and the board, anybody who wants to, on some thoughts there. I mean, I'm here on the board and that happens to be right in my wheelhouse. So.
Jean, do you know if she's with a firm?
I believe so, but I don't remember exactly. So what I can do is pull together the information that I have and let you and relay that to you.
Okay, because it's important to know also what firm she's associated with. Because there are really good ones and really not.
Yeah. Maybe Pat and I could look it over together along with anybody else.
Over lunch.
Yeah, at last.
We'll get you out there finally.
Yeah, she's an attorney based in Norwich who's licensed unless there's a different Nancy Warner. And she's mainly works on estate planning and trust matters.
No, so I think this is a different Nancy. I don't think she's based in Vermont.
Oh, okay.
I feel like New York. But I'll get you the details that I have. And if not, if I don't have what you're looking for, I can reach out as well.
Super. Yep.
Yeah, her name doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah.
To me.
If you want to copy Pat and I, and there's some very funny legislation in Vermont, particularly well, yeah, it had to do with the fact that Burlington invested in Burlington Telecom, and the city ended up on the hook for $6 million in losses, and it hit everybody on the grand list. And so they passed some laws related to investment in telecommunications that prohibited some things that are legal in most other states. So if she's out of state in particular, then you know, she may be on top of this, but it may also help to have the local knowledge. So that I'm glad that they are looking to get guidance, but it's an interesting area.
And just to circle back to Michael's question about the van meeting on May 1st, could we get information on that? If there's going to be a Zoom, you know, should we have someone there? What's going to be the deal? I would be curious if it's going to be on Zoom or when, where, how long is it?
Okay.
That would be good.
Yeah. Chad, are you able to be there if it is on May 1st? like on
It's
Zoom.
Friday?
Depends on when it is.
It's Friday in Randolph, you said?
In
In-
Richmond, she said.
Oh, Richmond. Yeah, I can go. What time? Let me just check.
Yay.
I went last year. It was interesting.
Yeah,
I know.
unfortunately, to be at a
Yeah.
different meeting in Wisconsin on May 1st, or I would be
Yep,
out.
what is this? Hey, it's the first or the second?
May
Friday?
1st. Friday, May
Oh, I
1st.
can do May 1st. May 2nd, I'm going to a Kentucky Derby party. So
Ooh.
drinking comes first. But I'll do May 1st. Can somebody send me directions and whatever? I'll go. They have food there. It's good stuff.
Yeah, so if
Yay.
we can find out when that is, I do have to be begging for money, for something else early in the day, but, could potentially try to plug in.
Right.
Do,
And advanced. Oh, I'm sorry. You go ahead, Chad, and then I have a question, a van
no,
question.
you first, please.
Okay. Mine was just, have they given you any outlook on what the State House's position is going to be on an advance or sorry, an increase in the van member budget from the State House, if any?
So I was gonna say, I did put it in the co-director's report, so I was gonna wait to talk about that when we got to the co-director's report, but I can, so
No.
answer. So
Cool.
our increase, I think at the last meeting, we talked about, we were asking for a 540,000 increase, and it made it into the House budget. And I believe it's in the Senate budget, so it's there. I think the budget still, I don't know if they had gone to the conference committee or where the Senate budget is, but our increase did make it in. So whether, and we're hoping that it stays in there, and as the Senate goes through, that things don't change. But that's where it was, I think, as of last week. I haven't quite followed where the budget is currently in the Senate side. So hopefully it should be fine.
Having watched them in their, okay, what can we get rid of mode?
Yeah, it's not finished yet.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah.
It ain't over till it's over.
So, do we have any other questions or discussion related to the treasurer's report or financial report?
I'm just glad, Pat, you can make it to the van meeting, and Jen, going forward, could you make the board aware of it when it's time and place is figured out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
Thank you.
was very interesting last year. I liked
Yeah,
it.
I've been before, and there really is, you'll
Yeah.
learn a lot.
Yeah, I believe I remember the one here at VCFA was like, it seems like it was all day long.
Right, we hosted, yeah, it's a to-do.
Yeah, it's a commitment for sure.
Yeah, I popped by for part of it, at least the year it was here. All right, so then I guess that we can say that the treasurer's report and financial statement is received and placed on file for audit, which means we can move forward. To the co-director's report, where we can, I guess, skip the legislative update for Van.
Okay, so I think in terms of events, it was, I think from the last one, town meeting day, we did, and I think we had also a conference that we did get, that they agreed to pay for, so we did have a production service one, as well as we had some Norwich generally pays for their events as well, so we did have a couple paying position or events. Outside of that,
We have a lot of town meetings, and then just on the special events there I have listed.
And in terms of Art Walk, so we are still doing the Folks Feud. We had one, and we have another one, hopefully this Friday. But with Art Walk, I think we're trying to do more artist related type activities. So we did watch, we had two different artists come in to create art while we recorded it. And we've been calling it the Watch Me Art. And we have another art walk happening. And so I think we were gonna we put out an invite with a leather worker. So, and they said that they would be interested in working on some, art on that art walk. And they also do knife sharpening. So I was hoping that they might also sharpen some knives. But I think we were trying to we are doing the Watch Me Art for Art Walk this year. And it seems like, I know like Paso and Frank seemed very excited, and we had a couple of people come in to watch it. And I think we also, we set up two monitors outside so people could see what like the multi-view of the switcher looked like, as well as to see what the finished product. So we had that in the hallway that made it a little bit more interactive, and hopefully people could come and watch without, if they didn't want to necessarily come in. So I think those are, and we have a new camera operator, Avi. And I think that might be it. And yeah, in the van, the budget, the advocacy group, the van advocacy group continues to meet every other week. And so we have a meeting next week, so we'll see where we are on the budget. But hopefully, I think all the senators that we talked to were very supportive. So I spoke with Senator Watson and Senator Cummings, and they were both very supportive of our budget request. And so I think outside of that, if there's any questions about the co-director's report, or
When is the next R walk? In May? June?
June. So, but we they like us to submit our request or our sign up by Friday.
Friday.
So I think that's where, like, usually they ask for like a blurb of the artist who's going to be situated at the location. So if anyone knows of another artist, I think we could do another artist who might, if they want to perform or do their art while being recorded.
I bet I could get one of the Abenakis I've been working with.
Okay.
Want me to ask?
Yes. So if they want to come in June, so definitely ask, and we're happy to reach out as well.
Okay, what's the date? Here at ORCA, right? ORCA?
Yeah, and walk is June 5th.
5th?
Yeah, in the evening. So I think around it's generally like 5 to 8.
Okay.
So it
Good.
would
I'll
be,
ask.
okay.
I have a question about, just sort of a general sort of staffing question. I'm curious about, is the way that you handle, managing the editing and the operation support and camera operators, it's all sort of the same pool of people? Cause you mentioned something earlier about that you don't have people who specifically just do edit.
Yes, so we have camera operators, and those camera operators who are interested in editing, then we will often train them. And then, because we're always short on camera operators, so often we always seem to have camera operators who are interested in editing and getting more hours, because hours as a camera operator are very low. So that's how we've kind of looked at those camera operators who are looking for more hours and looking to do editing or more things, because we have some camera operators that are like, no, I'm not interested in editing at all.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we've been treating the pool. And so to have someone who just edits, because we have camera operators who are always looking for hours and who have interest, it seemed like, okay, it seemed hard to try to hire someone to do editing when we have these camera operators who are interested. So that's kind of why we've always pulled from that camera operator pool, and same with like operation support. So if someone's interested in doing more community outreach or talking to organizations, then I think that's where like Sean was interested in doing that. So it was like, okay, we can fit you in. Same with Annika, was like, they were interested in whatever hours, if there were more hours available or more things. So I think that's where it's always kind of filtered in, because we've had someone in that camera operator pool that was interested. Now it seems like they're newer, so we're not as sure if they are as interested, or if, if they're, I think a lot of the camera operators that are currently in that pool are pretty like, I want to just do camera stuff and some editing, and they don't seem like they're all that interested in doing the community outreach part. And that's also a little bit, but there could be some newer ones that may be interested in it, and we just haven't heard that they were or they wanted to, because we had someone in that position.
Yeah, I wonder if as a long-term growth strategy, if we're able to get more hired work, that it might be something to think about, having a person who's more post-production focused. It just, as you were saying that, it occurred to me. I can imagine, because it's not a typical, like in my background in a production company, you would typically, a person who might really be interested in editing, who might be faster at it, could be an efficiency savings. As something that we should probably consider down the road. Just an observation.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of times, like the camera operators are coming from, like, I think the ones that are interested in post, they have the background of production and post-production, and are coming from, I think, a college that they were doing filmmaking. So a lot of times, like those camera operators that were interested in doing filmmaking or like editing, like they came in. And so I think that our editing pool, in terms of, and it's also, like whether we could afford someone who does just editing, and if they're looking at something like, I think like we don't pay a lot, so that's where also like those editors might cost more than what we can, and because it is also like oftentimes we'll pull the editors off because we need a camera operator or something happens. So it's been nice to be able to kind of move them around. And so if they're only editing, and it's like, okay, yeah, so we can, I think, because the editing, we have a little bit more flexibility and time frame of turnaround, that if we needed to pull, that we're like, okay. And then if we started to,
Yeah, the one person that does mostly editing, then if we, like on this Thursday, there's like breakout rooms, so he's gonna cover one of those breakout rooms. But he does most of it, and then I add, the new, well, including Annika, like 3 and myself. So 4, and try to do 30 hours.
yeah. So in terms of our budget, we only have 30 hours per week for post-production. So then, and it is, I think part of it's a little bit of staff retention, because we don't have enough hours camera-wise, so that we kind of by giving them post, it gets them to stay a little bit longer as a camera operator. So we're not constantly looking, because, if someone's only getting 5 hours a week, but we can give them 10 of post, then they're hitting like that 15 mark, and that might be enough to keep them on. So we've used that also as like the post-production as a way to try to keep them working.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I can see that, like, though, if we were doing more like spots as part of sponsorship or something like that, if I were paying Orca as an underwriter, uh, I can see the benefit of having a consistent sort of product that I would expect.
Mhm.
As a result, and be it the ability for a faster turnaround. I think, like I said, I think it's a longer term idea.
Yeah, and I think
Can I,
that's what we were
I'm
hesitant.
sorry. Can I
Go.
jump in a minute?
Yes.
Now that we were talking about camera operators and editors, I just had a comment and something that I feel like we need to do at some point soon is that what I've noticed a few times while seeing the camera operators out there in the world is that I think we need to they need to be retrained, and I think we should do yearly evaluations or 6-month evals on each camera operators because there's they have some habits that I personally don't like, and I would not like any of my camera operators to have. Like for example, like sitting on a chair, not attending to the LCD screen as the meetings are going on. I think any camera operator should be locked into the camera, looking at the LCD screen, making sure that the levels are fine, making sure the exposure is correct. So there's a few things that I've seen of different camera operators, and I'm not outing anybody. I've just seen it throughout in general that they lack the skills to do things like that. And I do know for a fact that during our the Green Mountain Film Festival, during my event when we were doing the Q&A session, the camera operator apparently forgot the batteries were not. He didn't pay attention to the batteries or something happened, so there was no audio to the feed, right? And those are things that we need to train them so that when they're working, when they're on the job, they're making sure that they're hitting all those points and they're ready to adapt to any situation. And again, I'm happy. Again, I'm happy to put a workshop on a Saturday and bring in the camera operators and tell them what's a process and what are the things that they need to do constantly as they're recording the meetings.
If you see something like that, could you let me know?
So,
I'm letting you know right now. I've seen it a few times now recently, and the Green Mountain Festival was one, right? And you do know that
Um,
there was audio missing. I don't know if somebody put it together at Orca Media, but so the Q&A was not recorded or part of it. I'm not sure.
I don't remember what happened.
so
Okay.
hey, I would say maybe if you want to touch base with us so that we're on the same page of what you would like to see, so we could relay it to as part of the camera operator training, that these are the bits that, so we could all be on the same page of what it is
Well,
before doing that
absolutely.
workshop.
Yeah, I think that in general, I mean, I don't know if Orca still has a protocol, but there should be like a protocol of camera. These are the things that camera operators do throughout. And and I could sit down if we don't have that, I could help. I mean, I think we should have a list of guidelines of what a camera operator should be doing as they're filming, regardless who the camera operator is. I think is non sequitur, right? I think every camera operator should be locked into the LCD screen watching their viewfinder. And they should have headphones on, monitoring the audio levels. They should make sure that if they have a Sennheiser or whatever wireless systems they have, make sure the system is charged or the battery is okay and it's going to last the whole meeting, or be ready to switch it out. Um,
Do we,
make sure exposure is okay on your basic exposure on your camera. Make sure that it's focused on the person that needs to be focused on. um, Make sure white balance is correct, it's okay. Make sure they formatted the card at the beginning. So these are all, and I mean, these are the things that I teach my students all the time, and this is the process that we do, right? So
But we do it also. That's why I think it makes sense for us to coordinate with you, to be like, this is our list that we do with the camera operators and their training and expectations, and to make sure that we're catching everything that you're looking for. I think one of the other problems is, and this could be also something that offline or off to the side that we have a discussion with, we tell them and we have these expectations, and even like, whether it was a bad morning for them and they forgot or they didn't check or what have you, but it's also, we rely on feedback from because we're not there to see if they're doing all these things, even though we,
Right.
we say we expect you to. And sometimes, like with the municipals, we can see the Zoom and we see them sitting. So we'll text them and be like, hey, what do you, but outside of that, I think it is one of those where it's like that feedback is always helpful. And maybe we come up with some sort of plan to reach out to the organizers and say, hey,
Right.
without it
Yeah.
feeling like they're snitching kind of thing. So we
Well,
tried to watch the video also to see if we see that they're stagnant or they're stuck on a widescreen
Right.
kind of thing. So it is definitely, it's hard to try to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing when they're not being supervised, like eyeballed kind of thing. So
right, Jen.
it's,
Yeah, I agree, and yeah, thank you. I also, but I also think that we should then have evals like yearly. Like you should be able, somebody from ORCA should go there, impromptu in some of these meetings and see what's going on, right? To kind of eval that camera operator and general. And then I think that, I mean, if a camera operator needs to sit, right, because they need to, I mean, there's ways to work around it, right? We're not gonna. Yeah, I know some of our camera operators some of them are older a little bit, so there are ways to work around it, but their eyes need to be glued to the LCD monitor and they need to have the headphones on also.
Do we have
was
like a
this
checklist when you take out the gear of like for batteries and stuff like that? Because
Yeah.
that's definitely one of those like, oof.
Yeah, we have a checklist, we have a basic checklist, and then the more complicated areas have like another checklist that's
So
unique.
this
to
is
them.
something that should have been seen at that point. Dave, were you about to say something?
well, I've just been aware that in some ways, camera operators are being really called on when there's a demonstration or when ICE has been beating up people in a city. Do we have principles that say when if our operator happens to be at a place where that kind of an action is taking place and our operator has recorded it, do we release it? Do we let the police take our camera and see what the operator saw that would be evidence about troopers and police violating the rights of the citizens at a demonstration? And that kind of thing now is becoming a major issue about when things that happen that are everybody has a different take on it. The one camera operator many times has the evidence that can lead to both vindication of somebody being accused of something or a charge that needs to be made. And I don't know if we as an organization realize that the power of the camera now has become politically more important than it's ever been. And how did they in Burlington? How did the local ORCA people deal with the fact that they had camera things that were really important to the big demonstration that took place and the arguments between the police, the troopers, and the participants? Maybe that's way beyond our discussion for today. I just think that that's an important.
I'm assuming that if vendors or if like ORCA or whoever is there, that the police will notice it and will come in with a subpoena or whatever to request the data. And I assume we would give it to them because it's certainly not private. They would probably track us down. Wouldn't you think? I think.
If they had a warrant, then they could get copies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we also have, the reality is that fortunately for us, they're cell phones. Everyone's recording every day.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no secrets anymore.
It's not.
Are we recording it? The many issues that have happened in front of the State House? Do we recover those? Do we cover those events for ORCA?
If we get a request from the public or the organizers to come record it, then we will go out there. So like say the Three Kings rally, the No Kings rally, we did get a request in to record it. But if nobody had requested us to come and record it, we wouldn't have necessarily sent a camera operator. Just because we don't cover all the happenings, we only cover the ones that have been requested by the public or the organizer.
What about something as big as Primo Maggio that's happening this week in Barrie, which is a major celebration of May Day? in a very Italian-based and worker-based, granite quarry-based issue. Does our camera ever show up for something like that?
If they requested us, and well, the Barry one, that lives in CVTV's region, so it's not us. We have covered it in the past because the organizers have reached out and CVTV was not able to cover it. Oftentimes, because it's so close, we will send someone. So if the organizers had asked us to cover it, then we would send someone, but we wouldn't just independently send a camera operator over there to record it.
Thank you.
Where's the difference between like, we're not like a news station.
Right.
So
What was
it's
the news?
like a weird sort of, I don't know, tightrope. Right
The
word.
Green Mountain Film Festival is not local news. It's a major artistic celebration, and we've been doing and working with it. So the Prima Maggio celebration is the same kind of thing. That's the only point I'm making.
And with the Green Mountain Film Festival, the organizers did ask us to cover the Q&A. So that's kind of like if the Primo folks, and they have in the past asked us to cover it, we would say yes. It's just like we always try to have someone ask us to cover rather than us say, oh, this is happening and covering it.
And let's, CJ, do you have a hand raised intentionally, or has that emoji popped up accidentally?
It's actually on purpose. I was like, hey, I can raise my hand and be polite. I want to follow up on the suggestion that David had made that we cover items, even if not requested, if our operators are there on site. Mainly because two things. One, first a question. Do we have a policy written up, and could we put a note on the various front porch forums, which I think have a good rate for not-for-profits like ourselves, if I recall, to let people in the community know that we are available and can be requested. And that we'll do our best if we have the resources. So that's probably a Jen and Chad question, and Zach question. Do we have something that we could post on Front Porch Forum that says, hey, if you contact us for your event, your protest, your whatever, we will, in an equal opportunity way, try to.
We do have a blurb. I think the problem we come across is like whether we try not to pay for advertising, or like that's the problem. So then we could pay for an ad on Front Porch Forum and be across the region, or the other bit, like we can put something in the Montpelier and the Middlesex, but like we would need someone who has an address in the Randolph area that could do the posting. So if you wanted to post on the Randolph Front Porch Forum, we could give you the blurb that you could post on there as, this is something to do. But it's one of those where it's like, we just have been trying to save advertising money and not pay to put something out there. And so
Yep.
So I think that's
that bring it out of budget if there's room left in that one. You could send it to me or Michael Abadi or both. And the other good news is we can, unless the rules have changed, I can post on that and then check the box to include neighboring forums. And then could we, would it be reasonable to pass a formal resolution that if our camera operators happen to be on site and they see something that they think may be of interest to the community, that they're encouraged to record it? Would that be problematic?
So I feel like that has been problematic in the past. So with our gavel to gavel coverage, we've also said, we're there to record who's speaking, so that we're not asking our camera operators to make editorial choices. And so something that they may think is important, it's like, it's too wide of it feels a little too subjective of what's important based on the camera operators. So we've always been pretty clear about, like, if they're at the meeting, you know, they're following the people talking, the select board talking, and then going to the audience. So even if the audience is having like banners up in the back, they're not going to go back and take a shot of those while the, you know, select board's talking. So I think we've tried to make it easy and clear for the camera operators that they're there to cover the select board meeting and not necessarily what's happening that might be dramatic or interesting elsewhere.
One of the other issues has to do with masks and things that disguise who people are. Do we have ORCA T-shirts so that our camera operators, when they are there with a camera, are identified as being ORCA?
Lanyards. We have lanyards and placards that they can wear.
And it says ORCA on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they requested? No, that's a good question, David. Are they requested to wear them?
In the State House, they are.
They have to, I think that, and then we had them available on the rack that they can, if they want to grab one and put it on and go out there, they're welcome to do it. I think, like, we don't require them to wear the placard or the lanyard to like the select board meetings.
Like the library.
Or the library event.
Is it a bad idea for the community to see ORCA being at an event with a camera?
No, it's a very good idea. You should do it.
We can do it. We can have them, you know, we just haven't required them except for at the State House where it is required, but we can have all the camera operators wear a lanyard.
The reason I say so is that there are some people that are more worried about some unidentified camera operator that's actually recording some event that they are sponsoring and not knowing why they're doing it and who they are.
So all the camera bags.
And I'd hate to have our operators fall into that category of who are these people and why are they here with a camera?
So our camera bags do all have business cards in there, the ORCA business cards, so that they do have something that they could give to them, but we can also add the lanyard for them to wear as well.
I think it would be a good idea in this era that we're in.
I mean, it doesn't seem like the worst thing either way to, just on the level of professionalism, to have like some sort of shirt at least, that indicates that you're, it definitely seems like it would, so you know what the person is doing, to Dave's point.
If we can afford money for what we were talking about, we could afford a few dollars for some shirts for any camera operators or ORCA staff that are at events, just so that they see that ORCA is part of the community and is there.
Yeah, what's a sponsorship package for sponsoring the back of an ORCA shirt?
Yeah.
And but rather than make people wear shirts, maybe just because we have so many seasons in Vermont, maybe a name badge or even just an organization badge that needs to be, you know, prominently displayed, something to hang off the lanyard. But we're all in agreement that identification as ORCA makes a lot of sense. Do you think that would be easy enough and comfortable enough for the current crew to be requested to, you know, wear their ORCA lanyard and maybe an ORCA badge?
Yeah, so that's when we say the lanyard, it's the lanyard and badge that has the ORCA staff. Yeah. So we can just, I think what it is just letting the camera operators know to always wear one when they go on site. I think we just
are the cameras also. Do we have a sticker that we can put on the cameras that says, "Hey, it's ORCA Media"?
Oh, I don't like stickers on electronics.
I think they have. The cameras have barcodes, like the ORCA barcode for inventory. Yeah. Outside of that, I think there's not a lot of real estate on the camera.
Yeah. And WCAX and Channel 5 have them on theirs.
Yeah.
You can see them across the room. It's good PR.
Yeah.
The other thing is that ORCA's been around a long time, but it could be that in a classroom of 55 seniors in high school, there'd be one that knew what ORCA was. Just those 4 letters.
Yep. Um,
I mean,
if you,
Carlos said, this is 8:15, I think Jen makes sense. I'm not sure exactly, maybe just in general.
so do you need a resolution or anything from us to say you'll go ahead and follow suit, copy
I don't think
WC?
I don't think that this arises to the level of a board decision.
I,
Uh,
I'm
I
sorry,
think
I'm
it's,
gonna jump in. I meant she made sense when she was talking about the type of coverage, the types of events that we cover. Like we try to be a political, right? We try to be neutral. We cover gavel to gavel and those things. When she was talking about that, I thought that totally makes sense.
yeah, I would have to agree with that. I think it opens a huge can of worms. I think if someone wants to cover protests and current events in a more
Right.
interested way, then they can become a producer
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
show, right? Um, but unless we have anything else to get into on this, I think it would be good to accept the director's report into the record. And
So
I move to accept the director's report.
yeah, I don't, Pat, you pointed out, I don't think we have to accept it. We just have to add it to the record.
Okay, yeah,
So
you're right.
I think that I accidentally voted on it last time and you.
Yes, I know. That's why I did it.
Yeah.
But you changed your mind.
So let's jump to the approval of minutes and quickly do this. Okay, so I mean, unless anyone sees some sort of errors or what have you, would entertain a motion when anyone is ready.
I'll do that. So moved.
And I'll second.
Okay, and approve
Yep. Yay.
Aye.
Aye.
and opposed. Okay. Accepted the meeting minutes from last time and we do have some things here on the old business.
So just, I'm so sorry. So there was two, December 16th and February
We
17th
got two
meetings.
meetings?
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure it was clear. If you read through all the meeting minutes, that's fine, but they were two different meetings, just because I was late in sending out the December one, so it got pushed to this meeting to accept. But if everything looks okay, I don't know if it needs to be broken out between the two, but I did.
Mm, I think it's okay if we approve both of them unless someone sees a problem with them.
Nope.
Uh, um, We just have the one meeting minutes next time to look at, and, old minutes, old business, what if this stuff is still, needing to be,
So the
Yeah.
Green Mountain Film Festival trademark was put off till after the festival.
Mhm.
So I need to, I think, reach back out to just confirm that that's still back on track, I think, and so, and then with Art Walk, we're continuing, but if any ideas of how, right now we're doing the Watch Me Art, but if you want to, not for the June one, but June, July, August one, if there was ideas of changing things up, let us know, and with the notion of, we have to submit our proposal for Art Walk the month before. So unless, I think our plan is, if we don't necessarily hear of anything different, we'll just keep trying to do the Watch Me art and just try to find new artists to do their art on camera.
Okay, good.
And I think the board space is just, I think previously whether to reach out to Rachel Muse again, or if there was any other suggestions that you wanted us to reach out to, or.
Where did the Green Mountain Film Festival end up with their trademark process? Just reminded to ask.
I think they created the LLC, but then they put it on hold while the festival happened. And so now that the festival's over, and I think they're done with all the end cleanup type stuff, they were gonna re-embark on the trademark journey. So I just need to find out or reach out to them to see where they are, and it may be that part of that presentation that they do about the Green Mountain Film Festival will also include the trademark process, or where they are on that.
Thank you. And only other question is, are we still on track for the Bill Doyle Award May 8th? That's in a couple
Oh,
weeks.
thank you. Hello.
Sorry. So I don't know if I had it wrong. I have that we're presenting the award, but I think I may have just forgot, and that, are we presenting a winner for the award, or are we just presenting the placard, the award, our
To who?
plan, but not necessarily the winner? And in my head, and I may have just kind of jumbled it up, I had that we were presenting the award, but not necessarily a winner.
Oh, you
felt like
want to
I-
announce it?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Beth.
yeah, so that's where I was confused, because I remember feeling a level of relief. And so I was like, that must have been because we're not necessarily picking a winner, we're just presenting the award. But that's one of those things where I'm not sure if
Well, if we don't have, because to pull that off and get a winner was going to take a little bit of time. If you want, just to relax a little, we could announce it in the papers, and then to set a date where we're going to ask for submittals.
Nomination.
Yeah, thank you. And then announce it whatever date we decide. The State House has really made me very angry. I have a group of people that wanted to submit Bill's a plaque with Bill's face on it, photographs and stuff, and have it hanging in the State House. And then they went through all this. Well, if we do it for Bill, we have Dick Maza and Senator Sears, and so it became this biggest nonsense. So that's on hold, and I keep asking David Sheets to keep me apprised, but I don't think it's something anybody's totally interested in. And this group of people that I've been working with, I'm going to have to get them involved, because I don't think David would want to tick these people off. So I'm working on that, but I think if we don't have the time to do it right, I would rather make an announcement and then have the forms ready and have people fill it out and submit it to us. We could pick a good date to make the award.
So that's where in the minutes, it said May 8th, Bill Doyle's birthday is, like, that's where I told that we were targeting May 8th to make for a formal announcement. So I took the formal announcement of this is the Bill Doyle Award, not that there's a winner of the Bill Doyle Award.
Oh, I understand. But-
Okay, I think
but
we're,
May 8th a long way away now, though. If we're going to announce it, we can't use May 8th. We have to find something else.
Well, we could
Maybe
use
there's a
announce
date when
the-
he first became a legislator or something.
Or we could use May 8th to announce the availability of the Bill Doyle
But
Award.
May 8th is, I'm sorry. You know what I was thinking? May's already passed by. You're right. Sorry. We can announce it on May 8th. That's a good idea.
I
How
pasted,
old would Bill have been on May 8th that's coming up?
I'm sorry, Dave, what?
How old would Bill Doyle be
Oh my
if he
God,
was still alive?
205. I think 205. What do you think? Oh, he's in his 90s. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
94 or something.
what we had said in our discussion prior was that the board plans to send a recognition motion or letter to current legislators and is targeting May 8th for a formal announcement. And that seems like something we could still do.
Yep.
So,
Good.
and honestly, if they're like, we want to do it for everybody else, then, I guess if we have the time, they
No,
could,
well,
but
Yeah,
which we
Bill's our guy. So
Bill-
we don't know it. Bill's our guy. We don't know any of those other people. But I think can we pick out a plaque by then or a something that would be inscribed with the person's name on it? Because that would be good to announce it and then hold up the award.
What's the idea that the announcement date that we're talking about, May 8th, is
It's his birthday.
but it's going to be the point when people can then submit to receive the
Yeah,
award?
we'd have to have a form ready. It doesn't have to be too complicated. And I just do out a big press release. I've got a whole list of, and I'm sure you guys do too, have a list of all of the press and the newspapers and stuff, and we can hold our own press conference. That'd be cool.
We would need the plaque itself by May 8th, right? We would be submitting.
Well, it'd be good if we did, but if we can't, so be it. But we could hold the press conference in the State House if we wanted to go big
yeah.
in the Cedar Creek room.
so maybe what I'll put on my notes is I'll reach out to you, Pat, maybe in the next couple of days to get like logistics of like how you want to do that formal announcement. Does that seem okay? Okay. So
Yeah, and I can contact the State House to see if we're allowed to use I can't imagine they'd say no.
okay, so we'll leave it. I'll make a note to reach out to you maybe Thursday. Will you be around?
I'll be around at nighttime.
Okay, so let's talk over it on Thursday.
I'll come early, Jim.
Okay.
I have a 4 to 5 with Jim Lowe.
You should put in your notes to reach out to the Career Center's graphic design program, and they could probably design something very nice for us.
Nice.
Oh, that's a
Like
great
in terms of, what if the poster, whatever we're using, or
Right,
even if
we have to, yeah.
they could design it for you.
That'd be good. Is there anybody in particular we should contact, Carlos?
Yes, I will send y'all. I will send.
Thank you.
I will send you the email contact person. I'll let them know.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Carlos.
Okay.
Is there anybody in Bill Doyle's family that's in Montpelier area that's still alive?
Mike Doyle.
Well, his 2 children, they're twins, a boy and a girl. They have not done anything for Bill. This is a touchy subject with me.
Okay.
It's a very interesting dynamics. I'm very friendly with his son's wife, Lee's wife, when Lee's passed away, but I'm very friendly with his wife, and we do a lot of stuff together. She has a house here and a house in Boston. I can get in touch with her.
And my predecessor, Mike Doyle.
Oh, Mike Doyle, of course. He's almost like family.
Yeah. Well, he's his brother, right?
Yeah, right. By another mother.
Well, but he was on our board, so they both.
Oh, no, I know. Mike's great. I love him.
Thinking, okay, yeah.
But the 8th is coming up quickly, so.
Yep,
And
there are quite a few people who would like to come to this, so I'll make a list.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, like, press release timing seems like it would probably, need to be out by this Friday, you would think,
Mhm.
right? For a week.
Yeah, probably. And I can get help from Gary Haas from The World. He and Bill Doyle were attached at the hips, those two.
Nice.
All right, now we have a short timeline. I'm just realizing that. Okay. Gary Haas. I'll go see Gary Haas tomorrow and he can help us.
Thanks a lot, Pat.
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
So it seems like that should be like, we should see, is this gonna happen or not by the end of this week to see if we can,
Coordinate it for May
Yeah.
8th.
yeah.
I'll do a little running around tomorrow.
Um,
I'll go talk to Gary Haas and get advice from him because they may be able to help us too because he's in charge of The World.
Great. That's very good.
Right.
All right, so it does seem like it would be great to think more about whom we might be able to, or would appreciate joining the board with the two spaces. I don't know that that's something that we're gonna solve right now. I think that
It's just an ongoing.
it should be an ongoing thing. I think, can think of some ideas.
Okay.
But unless there's something else, I think we can move to new business.
Yeah, I've got to go a little while, so
Yeah. We have an annual meeting thing in here, is that right?
Yes. So historically, we've done annual meeting in May, the last Thursday, so that's May 28th for annual meetings. So we were planning on having that, the annual meeting. Does that date work for everyone? And if anyone can think of a guest speaker, would be lovely if anyone has any ideas.
What date did you say?
May 28th. It's generally the last Thursday of the month of May that we've done annual meeting.
And what time do we have that? Do we know?
Say 4 to 6, but I just feel like that may not be the truth. Okay.
Also coming up quickly.
All right. So
Last year where we had Payline come in and talk, right?
previously it was 5 to 7. So
that's a good time.
Okay, well, Thursday's a good day, so 5 to 7 on the 28th, Thursday, annual meeting.
okay. And send me any speaker ideas if you have any. And then
Have to come up with a caterer.
that's, yeah. And then I guess if we could also just want a next meeting for the board meeting, I have June 23rd. Does that?
23rd.
Is that high school graduations?
Still soon.
Yeah. Good question. I think that it looks like school for my son is finished by then, so
Okay, so Thursday night,
it's usually before. So it's a Tuesday, the 23rd at
Mhm.
6:30?
Yeah. Does that work for everyone?
yeah, for me.
All right, sounds good. So the next meeting is in the schedule and I think that does it. I think we can be adjourned. And if we have a motion for it, do we need a motion for adjourning?
Yep. Then people can say, no, I don't want to. I want to keep talking all night.
Uh,
When's an appropriate time to ask the chair if we can, as a board, ask the college to pave the frickin' road outside our building?
Oh, so
Did they fix it?
so is the meeting adjourned or is this still part of the meeting?
Oh, we should adjourn it. We shouldn't put what I'm going to say in there.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead
So
and
let's call us adjourned at 8:41.